Hey everyone, it's Mr. Mott. What we're going to do is talk about calculating limiting and excess reactants using proportions, okay? And so we have our formula, 2Al plus 6HBr produces 2AlBr3 plus 3H2. So our first problem says when 3.22 moles of aluminum react with 4.6 moles of HBr, how many moles of H2 are formed? So the idea here is that you have two different reactants, and one of them is going to run out first. So we're going to figure out, in order to be able to figure out which one is going to run out first, we're first going to determine how many moles of hydrogen can be formed from each of these reactants. So I'm going to set up X moles of hydrogen over my first reactant, 3.22 moles of aluminum. Okay. We're going to bring our units across. Okay. So that's going to be one that we set up. And another one, very similar, how many moles of hydrogen can be made if you start out with 4.96 moles of HBr. Okay. So bring our units across. All right. Now it's time for the numbers. So as far as the numbers go, where am I going to get this information? Well, the only place where two different chemicals are being compared to each other is the equation. So we're going to go up to hydrogen, and this 3 means that there's 3 moles. So I'm going to put a 3 here. And for aluminum, this is 2 moles. Okay? So doing the math here, we're going to take 3.22 times 3 divided by 2, and we're going to get about 4.83 moles of hydrogen. So what this number tells us is that 3.22 moles of aluminum will produce 4.83 moles of hydrogen. Okay? For the next one we have, so then filling in our numbers here, hydrogen is going to be 3 again, and HBr is going to be 6. So 4.96 times 3 divided by 6 is going to give us 2.48 moles of hydrogen. So now what do we do with those numbers? Well, if you remember from our s'mores activity, what's going to happen is that you're going to make the smaller amount. So the smaller amount of hydrogen can be made. Okay, so we're going to maybe put an asterisk by this one to figure out how many moles can actually form, smaller amount. That tells me that HBr is the limiting reactant. Okay, because the limiting reactant produces the smallest amount of product because it runs out first. So that means that my other reactant, which is aluminum, is my excess reactant. Now to calculate the amount of excess reactant, what we're going to do, there's a few different ways of doing this. The method that students tend to like is we take these two numbers and subtract them. That's the first step. So 4.83 moles of hydrogen minus 2.48 moles of hydrogen. Okay, and let's see if we can do this here. This is a 7. So 2.35 moles of hydrogen. All right. Now, we're not done yet. That's the first step. Hydrogen is one of our products in our reaction, so that cannot be our excess reactant. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this number here, and we're going to say how many moles of my excess reactant, which is aluminum, can be made from 2.35 moles of hydrogen. Okay. So bringing our units across and then grabbing the numbers from the equation. So for aluminum in the equation, it should be a 2. And for hydrogen, it's going to be a 3. So 2.35 times 2 divided by 3, we get about 1.5, maybe 7 moles of aluminum. Okay. So this number here is our excess reactant.